Hi everyone. Look, we've got the fairing on. You'll have seen that in the last episode. I've been out for a few little shakedown runs locally, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. The bike's going really all right. It's not bad. The engine's better than it was. However, it's still a bit hesitant. It's still hanging on the revs a bit. They die very slowly. It's perfectly rideable and perfectly safe, but I thought I'd just have a tinker again. So we've got another instalment on messing with this carb. So what I've done, if you come in close, Harry, what I've bought is a needle jet, which is that one. There's the jet, and a new needle, because I think this bike is running rich. So there's the little clip and circlip to hold the needle. That goes on the second groove down according to the factory settings. I've also bought another main jet. So this all goes in line. That's at the bottom. That's on top of that. Obviously, there's the jet holder, which is in the carb at the moment. And then that goes in the slide. And what happens is, this really meters the fuel. It goes, let me get my glasses on. It goes that way up when it's in the carb. That's at the bottom. That's in the slide. And then as you twist the twist grip and the slide goes up, that comes out. And as it gets thinner, it lets more fuel in at higher revs. Now, I think this thing's running rich, mainly because I never really need the choke to start it. So that's a clue, it's running rich, and it is sooting up plugs. It's much better than it was, and to be honest, I got 70 miles an hour out of it with my mate Steve following me, and he was a bit surprised at how well it went. I've got my new tyres as well, so the handling's much improved as well. So, look, it's turning into quite a nice little bike. So, this was cheap. This cost £10 plus the VAT, plus the postage. I think it was 15 quid all in. So I'm just going to have a mess around with this. If it makes it worse, I'll put it back to how it is, because it is perfectly rideable. It's just me being me. It's slightly annoying me. It's the hanging revs more than anything. So I'm just going to do this, and then I can compare this new needle. It is an aftermarket part, but apparently they're Japanese. I got it from David Silver. Apparently they're really good quality. And I'll just compare this to what comes out, put this in, give it a run. I don't think I'm going to have to ultrasonically clean it again. I think it's just a case of get the carb off, fit this, put it at the standard setting, and see how we go. And see if it makes any difference at all. And, well, look, the proof of the pudding will be in the eating when we get it back together. But I'm going to ask you guys out there a question now. Have any of you guys on eBay, there are really cheap carbs for these, because you can't get the originals anymore, and I think they're 350 quid. Well, that's blown the budget. Forget that. I can't buy a new one, even if I could get one, which you can't. So there are like Chinese knockoff carbs, I'm going to call them, specifically for this model. So if any of you guys have got any experience of those off eBay, they're like 30 quid with a K&M filter, which I wouldn't fit. But have any of you fitted those to a Bentley? I'm not interested if you've put it on something else, just to get a bit of feedback for me, because I'm very nervous of buying, a Chinese knockoff carburetor for 30 quid when the Honda one's 350, which is ridiculous, but you can't get them anyway. So if anyone could comment on any genuine experience they've had with one of those 30 quid carbs, I'd appreciate it, because if this doesn't work, I'm thinking for the sake of 30 quid, give it a go. But so I'd appreciate that. So look, enough of me rambling. First thing to do is get this one off. First, just do the choke cable. These are great because they are single carb. It's fairly, I'll say straightforward. I'll probably have a problem now. Now I've said that, get the choke cable out. Right, that's out and out the way. Loosen that at the moment. I don't want muck to go in there. That's that. I've got it. There's a clamp here on the rubber. Get that off. I put a nice stainless Allen bolt in that last time. Right, the airbox to carburetor rubber is now off. And now it's just a case of slackening these. Do them equally. Kickstart's in the way. This carb has been off so many times now. Each time I've done something to it, it has got a tiny bit better. So it's just not quite right. So I'm sure we'll get there eventually. That's it. Unscrew the top, the slide's in here, and the needle. which you'll see, which we're going to replace. So there's the needle, that's got to come out, which means taking the throttle cable off. I might have to undo the twist grip to get enough slack in the cable. There's not a lot of slack in this cable. So that needle's coming out, but the jet bit is in the carburetor. So a load of fuel will come out of this when I tip it up. That's the holder for the choke. I'm just going to put bits in there. I've got another little tub here. I don't want to mix those up with these. Now that sounds obvious. It's very easy to do once you're fiddling around. You put it down, and if you put them in the same tray, you think, oh, the new one's at the top, and then suddenly you can't remember. I know that's the new, this is going to be the old. So this has been ultrasonically cleaned. Don't need to take that other hose off. So this carb has already had a new float needle. You can't change the float needle seat because it's a press fit. When that wears out on these, that is a new carb. You could, on a lot of carbs you can change the seat, but you can't on these. And it's like the pilot jet on this is also a press fit, which is annoying because you can't get it out to put it in the ultrasonic cleaner. All you can do is put the carb body in. Which, you know, that's annoying as well. It's because these were, you know, utilitarian use every day. And they weren't cheaply made, but they were built down to a price point. So, yeah, you can't actually get the pilot jet out, which means you can't change it for a different size if you tune it. But, I mean, who's going to tune one of these? No one. Now I've said that, I'll get a raft of comments going, I've got a tuned one. Does 100 miles an hour. So we'll keep all these bits in this tray. Give that a little tap just to unseat it. There we go. Oh, heater's going on. Right, that's that. I'm just going to turn that off. So when you look at this, there's the floats. The float needle's there on that little spring, and that's the one that stops the fuel coming in when that floats up to the right height. Now, I've been messing with the float height on this because it was running so rich. It's not on what is factory setting, which is supposed to be 14.5 mil. I did it on that, and it was really rich. So what I did was, you measure it from that flat surface to the top of the float there, and I've actually raised it a bit, which means when it's the right way up, it shuts the fuel off at a lower level in the float bowl, so not as much can get through that jet. So that's the main jet, that's the pilot jet, and that's the mixture for the two, which I haven't really fiddled with. That's supposed to be 2 turns out, that one. So that pilot one you can't get out, so I will blow through it in a minute and just check it. So the first thing I'm going to do is take the pilot jet out and the holder, and then once this comes out, this piece, which is the needle jet, that is on top of this thing, so it'll be going in there. And I am going to compare the two and just have a look, just see if I can get this out. Oh, wrong screwdriver. Make sure you get a good fitting screwdriver here. Trying to get it dead in the middle. There we go. There we go. That's cracked it loose. That's all I want to do there. I'll take it out now. Then you undo the main body of it. So I've already cracked the jet loose. Right, so that's the main jet. So that one is a direct replacement. That's a new one of those. I'm just gonna, I've got my airline down here. This is probably where I'll blow it across the workshop. Just gonna hold that up to the light. You know what, I'm gonna compare it to this one now and just see to the eye, which is obviously not accurate. I don't know. But anyway, that's that main jet. And so now, if I get my finger in here, ooh, that other jet's stuck. Oh, blimey. I'm going to take the float out, I think. Take the gasket off. I want to put the gasket in that one to keep it really clean. That was a new one that I fitted last time, that gasket. So that's that there. I've now got to get that out. Can't remember which way out this came. I think it comes that way. Just tap that shaft out. That's the one that holds the float. I don't want to damage any of this, so I am going to take it out. There we go. So there's that. That holds the float. That's the pivot for the float. And this has got the needle on it. I've just dropped it. It doesn't matter. Tip that out. That's the float needle. That's brand new. I am actually going to put that in there. I've only got the one, so I can't confuse it. Right, I've stripped the carb down as much as I need to. The needle jet was slightly stuck in here. I just tapped it through from the top this side out the bottom. That's why I've taken the float off, so I don't bend anything. And also I want that exactly the same as it was when it was last running, so I've got, you know, something to judge it by. If you change loads of things, you won't know. So I'm going to put that float back in, even with my adjusted float height. It may be lean now because it is a bit low, that float. But look, I don't want to change too much. So in a nutshell, I've got this needle jet out. I've put the needle in it and waggled it. This one does seem looser than that one. So we might be, with a bit of luck, along the right lines. Anyway, look, the next thing to do, now the carb's stripped, keeping the bits separate as much as I can, is to get this slide off to get the needle out, because this you get the cable out and you've got to pull this spring up. Now there isn't enough free play in the cable to do it easily, so I could, if I really battled with it, do it without doing this, but I'm going to remove the twist grip cable to give me a load of free play this end. For the time it'll take me to get that off, I'm just going to do it that way. So I'm just going to get the switch gear off, which is just these. There's two crossheads. Hold this. These are great, these Hondas, because there's a little dimple in the handlebar where the split in the switch gear is to get this at the right angle, which has to be the right angle so it doesn't clout that. And as you know, we had issues with that with the lock stop, but that's now sorted. So, and once the switch gear's open, I can hopefully, without too much of a battle, get the throttle cable off. After a little bit of a battle, I've got the cable out of here, so so now I've got a load more free play at this end. There's not so much tension on that spring, so it'll make it easier. You then just pull the spring back, and then you need to come in close, Harry, to show this. So I'm now gripping the cable. Look, I've got a bit where I can slide it, and then you push oh, hang on. You push the ferrule out the end, and then it will come up through that slot to get the slide off, and look, that will come out. Right, that's it off. Bring the spring with you, put that in there. So there we have the slide and the original needle. Be interesting to see how different this one is. Right, now, come in close again. This little clip here, this little one here, holds the needle in, and the little circlip goes on the needle in the second groove. So you just put that in there. There it is, look, there's that one out. That retains this one. And then now, that comes out of there, look. So, let's put that in there, that's going back in. So here's the original one. And you can see there are grooves and marks on this. That is a little bit worn. I I'm just going to put it in this one and waggle it and see. Right, it goes that way up on the bike. Just trying to see. You can see that waggles quite a lot there. Let's just see what this one does. That needle, I think, is quite a bit thicker than this one. These are supposed to be a like-for-like replacement. I don't think that one's... you can't really see by looking, but to me that feels tighter in there than that one. So I'm hoping we're along the right lines here. Right, I've put the little circlip on the second groove down. I'm just spinning it to check it's in. It looks like it's in. Yep, my eyesight's dodgy. So, and then what you've got to do is drop that back in the slide. The circlip goes in the little clip there. Put that down. Here's my new retainer. You just got to... and I think this goes in a groove at the bottom. Actually, hang on, let's just... what you don't want... oh no, hang on, that's got to go. You've got to be able to get the cable in, so you don't want the top of that in this groove where the cable goes. I want it opposite that, so... Right, that's the needle and the clip in. So the next thing is to get the spring back in, and this is it's a tighter coil at the bottom to get the cable around that. So I'm just thinking, yeah, now fit this back to the bike here. Obviously, spring goes up the middle there, that comes out the bottom. And you've got to compress that. Now you see why it's easier if you do that thing with the throttle. So oh, hang on, it's quite stiff to still hang on to even like this. So now you see that goes through there, and then that goes in that hole at the bottom. Then you let the spring go. Right, that's the needle. On the right groove, fitted in the back in the slide, the springs on. So next, I'm going to fit the twist grip. Right, that's the throttle cable. Just always check it. You can see what that does inside the carburetor. That just pulls that up. So that's fine. I'm happy with that. It returns on its own at the moment. So that's set at the right angle. So my wing mirror doesn't hit the fairing. There we go, that's okay. Remember, that was a battle earlier on. So now, I've got to put the carb back together and fit it back on the bike. Next, the new needle jet. The old one's in that tray, so I know this is the new one. It's nice and shiny as well, so that should drop straight in and appear at the other side. I'll push it in with this. Ooh, it's a bit tight. Oh, there we go. So if you come in close, you can see that needle jet's in there. Look, you can just see it sticking through. So that's in there, and this, the main jet holder, pushes that up and snugs it down. So tighten this up. Don't over tighten it. It's into aluminium. Now, because I've changed the needle and I don't want to change too much stuff, I'm going to put the original main jet back in. I've got the new one in there, but I'll tell you what, I was looking at it. Look, your eye is fairly accurate, your eye. But I think, if anything, one might look a bit bigger, but it probably isn't. But so I'm just going to, again, nice fitting screwdriver, get it in the middle. Just snug that down. You don't need to over tighten it. Then next we've got to get the float back on. So I need this is the needle with the rubber tip that cuts off the fuel supply when the float comes up to the right height. So I'm going to put that on. That goes on that little tang there. Oh, hang on, I'm going to drop it. God, these things are fiddly, especially if you've got... Hang on. Just got to get that right. That's on there. So that just hangs on there. Now, that's got to go in there. That goes in there. Here's the bar that I took out to... that's the pivot pin. Hopefully this won't be too tricky to get back in. Oh, missed it. God, this thing's wobbling around. Try not to bend anything. There we go, that's going in. Try and push it in with my fingers. Right, that's gone all the way in with my fingers. That has to be flush or the float bowl doesn't go on. So look, that's it there. I am just going to reacquaint myself with what the float height is. I know that that is higher than standard. That's supposed to be 14.5, and I know it isn't. But I'm not going to change that for the minute. I've set this to 14.5, so that goes from there. Yeah, it's about, that is about, I would say, 16. So if anything, that is high. That's the height there. Yeah, it's a lot higher actually. Well, maybe it'll run lean now. And if it does, I'll just have this off again and tweak that little tang there. You bend that and it raises and lowers the height of that when it's at rest. So that's that. There's my new main jet. I'm going to put all these in here just to keep them safe now. So look, if I get this back together and it runs horribly, I can just put those bits back in. Ooh. Put that in there. This was a new rubber gasket on this last time I had this apart, so I can reuse this. Let's slot that together. Let's put that on like that, might be easier. Make sure it's in the groove. Go. There we go, that's that. Right, that basically is ready to go back on. Right, now all that's connected up, we've got the float bowl back on. It's put the slide back in, and this groove, there's a notch actually in the bore of that carb to stop this twisting. The cutout goes at the back. So the higher side goes at the back of the carb. Well, that's the back, so I know it goes that way. And then you've just got to locate that groove there. The needle has to go into the needle jet as well. That's gone in. You just have to twist this around. There it goes. Look, when it slots in easily. And then get this on. Don't want to cross thread it. It's aluminium. Easier said than done. There we go. That should go easily. If it doesn't, you've cross-threaded it, so be careful. So that's that. Let's, before we put it on, just... And if you look in there, you can see the slides going up and down. It's not sticking. It's going all the way down against the throttle stop, which is this one here. That adjusts your tick over. I did give the carb a quick blow through with the airline. But as I say, I haven't cleaned it again because I don't think I need to. So now I've just got to slot this back on. I'll worry about that overflow oil line at the fuel line at the bottom in a minute. I've just got to be careful here. What you don't want to do is take a big gouge out of this. Normally I'll bend that down. Let's locate that one. Right, now the other one. And then always try and keep it parallel. If it goes on skewed, it'll stick. Right, that's that. Get that. That needs to come out of there. That's the clip for the HT lead on the other side. Right, so now I've just got to put the nuts on, and then I'll put this back on. So yeah, the nuts on it next. Right, I'm just doing up this clip on the airbox connector hose. Again, you don't want to massively over tighten that. It needs to be snug, but not massively tight. Oh, I don't like that. That's hitting the carb. I might move it round a bit. Push it round. There we go. That'll do for that one. Right, now the choke cable. It's fairly easy. You just pop that in there. You've got to check there's enough slack in that, because obviously you don't want that slightly on. So push it right the way down. Get that where it wants to be. So hold that there. That's got to go there. So it's not applied when the choke's fully off. Check that down. So check the choke mechanism. There we go. It's going right the way down. Just push it to check. Yeah, that's right the way down. So now it's refit the tank, and well, we'll fire it up and see what it does. Hopefully I haven't wrecked it. Right, the fuel tank's on, the carb's on. Hopefully I've put it back together correctly. Do you know what? I'm standing here now thinking, did I put the floats on the right way up? I wasn't really paying that much attention. I was doing it on autopilot. Anyway, fuel on, ignition on. I'm not going to use the choke, just see what happens. Absolutely nothing. Oh, mind you, it's got to fill the carb up. Remember, this is stone cold. Well, that tick over's higher. That's worse. With the choke on, that's better. I think the float height being out is now the problem. I think my incorrect float height. No, with the choke on. That was running lean when I fired it up, which is the first time it's done that. Now with full choke, I think I need to go and get that carb off and redo the float height. Hi there, welcome back. In the last 24 hours, because it was running lean, I've actually had the carburetor off twice. The first time, I slightly raised the float height in the carburetor to richen it up, and I only did it a tiny bit, and I think it was a bit better. So I've had the carb off for a second time, raised it a little bit more. I think it'll be there or thereabouts now. So I've taken the liberty of putting the tank and seat on. So let's get it fired up and see how it is. This carburetor has been a pain. That's that. A little bit of choke. Here we go, fingers crossed. I tell you what, I think that is a lot better, just with it on the centre stand. That seems there or thereabout. Bear in mind it's stone cold. So look, hopefully the next time you see this, I'll have an onboard shot of me riding it to the Super Sausage to go and see my mates. And I could be in for a ribbing. They haven't seen me on this yet, so normally I turn up on something fancy. But I'm really looking forward. It's about a 45-minute ride. It'll be the furthest I've been from home on it because I haven't trusted it yet. So I'm going to hopefully make it to there. So join in the next episode on the Bentley for that.